I want to step you through what your first program is going to look like. So let's look at the very top up here, and you'll notice this section right here. Okay, we start off with a slash star and we end with a star slash. And this basically is a multi-line comment. You'll notice in here we have like a name, a program name, and a date. Okay, are we limited to 3 lines? No, we can have as many lines as we need, but this is a good place here to put information about our program. Let's look down here at our next spot, package, and then we have a name. Okay, NetBeans is going to take care of this for us. So what a package is, it's basically a namespace. Think of it as a folder. So when this thing gets compiled up here, it's going to put all of our libraries, all our classes together in a bundle, a package. So that's the next spot, and it has to be here. It's got to be it's got to be the first part of our program. NetBeans will already take care of it for us. Let's move farther down in our program. So you'll look at this spot right here. Import Java Util Scanner. Okay, so there are a bunch of libraries out here where Java's gone out and their programmers have gone out and have already coded a bunch of stuff for us that we don't have to recode ourselves. Now what a scanner does is basically allows us to read input from the keyboard. Okay, so a programmer already went out, wrote all that code. Okay, so we're going to use that library that they put that code in and use a scanner to read that information from the keyboard. We can use multiple different libraries on that, and so we can import as many libraries as we want, and they have to go right here. Okay, so between package and public main class, this is where we're going to put all our imports. So if you're going to use the import, it has to go between this spot here, and we can have as many imports as we need. Now let's move farther down into our program. So now we see public main class and then our first function. And then we see the main function up here is static void main. So this is where our program actually starts. Okay, right here. Static void main. Okay, and you'll notice it's got its braces there. We have our next section we see here. Okay, and you'll see right here I've done a single line comment with the 2 slashes. Okay, so you're going to code something like this, and it's good form to put all your variables together in one spot. Now you'll notice here we have our first variable here, string. Okay, and then we have our variable name followed by a semicolon. We have another string variable. Now we have a double data type. Okay, here's a variable for it, and we're initializing it to the first value of 0. We have a few more variables that follow that same pattern. And then finally, look at this last one here. We have double, and then here we're defining 3 variables at once. And if we wanted to on here, we could actually initialize that to a value of 0. We'd simply get rid of the semicolon, put an equal sign, give it our initial value, followed by a semicolon. Okay? You may be wondering, why are the variables all named X? You can call them anything you want. It's my coding style to put the letter X in front of those because there's very few words that start reserved words that start with an X. So as you start to program, you're going to see a pop-up menus come up there, and if you start to use an X up there, you'll see all our variables will be grouped together. So it's a nice little technique that I use to keep all my variables together when they pop up in the pop-up menus. Let's look farther down in our program. So the next thing we see is scanner. Okay, right here we're creating a scanner. Now you notice here I've labeled what we're doing. Okay, so you always want to comment what you're doing here. So we're going to create a greeting up here, and we're going to create a scanner. So we notice we have the word scanner, scan equals new scanner system in. Okay, this is the form. Okay, scan, this is what we can call it. Okay, we can call this anything we want. Okay, so the basic form of this, the basic syntax for this will always be scanner, what our variable name is, whatever you want to call this right here, equals new scanner system in. Okay, so this scanner will allow us to read information in from the keyboard. Everything but the box here will stay the same. You can create your own variable name here that's in the box. Can you have, are you only limited to one scanner? No, you can have as many scanners as you need. But we can, the beauty of a scanner is we can reuse it for different things, and you're going to see this here coming up in the next few lines of code. Let's move down farther in our code. So we're going to scroll down a little farther here in our code. So now we're going to print a message out to our user, and to do that we're going to use this line of code here. We're going to use system out print line. Okay, and in parentheses and in quotes, double quotes, we're going to enter our message to the user. Okay, this part here, system out print line, never changes. Okay, same form every time. Okay, so we've printed a message out to our user on the console. Okay, our user is now going to type something on the keyboard. So they've typed in their name. Now we need to retrieve their name from the keyboard and put it into our variable. And in order to do that, you notice here, here's our scanner. Okay, that's the scanner that we created. Okay, and we're going to use scanner.next. Okay, and then we're going to store that file. So that's going to pull the information from the keyboard and store it into our variable first name. Okay, now we're going to repeat the procedure one more time here. We're going to ask them for their city. So you notice, once again, to convey a message out to the console, out to our user, it's system out print line. Okay, here's your message to the user. We're going to read that, they're going to type in their city. So in order to get that information from the keyboard, we're going to use scan.next. Okay, and then we're going to store that information in our variable xcity. And then finally what we're going to do here is we're going to print out a greeting. So here's our actual greeting. Notice again, system out.println. Okay, look here, right here. I've got that escape character, /n. Okay, that's immediately going to drop it to a new line. And then we're going to say greetings. And then we're going to put in their name, from, and their city. Okay, and we're using the plus sign here to join all our chunks of text. Okay, and this whole thing is called concatenation. We're concatenating a string, and we're putting our different parts of the string together with the plus sign. Okay, so that's the first part of our program. So let's move down a little farther on here. So we'll move down a little farther on our program. So now we're actually going to get some number information. So we're going to need to deal with that a little differently. But once again, the pattern is the same. Okay, we need to ask the user for some information. Okay, once again, system out print line. Here's our message to the user. Enter a message in inches. Okay, so we're going to convert inches to centimeters. Okay, so they're going to enter a number. Okay, and so what we're going to do then is we're going to change. Look here, we're going to use next double. Okay, since our inches is a double, we need to bring that input from the keyboard and convert it to a double, and then we're going to store it into x inches. So our next line here is we're going to manipulate that data. So now we're going to go x inches times 2.54, and then we're going to store that into x answer. And then finally we're going to actually print out their answer. Once again, see here, here's our system.out.println. And for fun, we're going to split this out on multiple different lines. So we have your, and then look here, here's our escape code /n answer on another line. And then we're going to drop it to another line is, and then finally we're going to put their answer on the bottom line. So every one of these is on their own line. If you'll notice right here, we're going to go ahead and we'll do the same thing, and we're going to convert it the other way. So we're going to do system.out.println. And then here's our message to the user right there. We're going to bring in their number right here. So we're going to read that data right into scan, and then we're going to store that into our variable right here. We're going to divide by 2.54. Now look here, x answer. It's the same variable. Okay, so we're using the same variable over again. Okay, so we used it, our same variable again, and then we're going to print our answer out to the user. Let's look at our last part of our program here. Here we're going to deal with three numbers. Okay, so once again we're going to put our message out to our user. Okay, system out print line. We're going to have them say enter three numbers. Okay, so our user is actually going to do something like this. They may enter a 5, and then they may enter 6.7, and then they may enter a 1.3. Okay, separated by spaces. So this is what's cool. What we're going to do is we're going to use the scan next double. Okay, and it's going to take that 5 and put it right here. And then it's going to take that 6.7 and put it in here. And it's going to take the 1.3 and put it right here. Okay, so as a user, I just entered 5 space 6.7 space 1.3. Okay, and then I can use the scan next doubles 3 times in a row. Okay, and it's going to populate our variables x1, xnum2, xnum3, and now we can take those variables, add them up, store them in xAnswer, and you notice how xAnswer is the same one that's been used there, is there, and there, and we're going to print out our answer to the user. Okay, so now what do you need to take away from this? Okay, so first off, what I want you to realize then is a couple basic things. First off, we're going to have our variables declared, and we usually put those in one spot. So we're going to put our variables, it's good form to put them in one spot. Okay, we'll put them in one spot on there. The next thing is that in order to communicate with the keyboard, we're going to use a scanner. Okay, and we use the same scanner over and over. Okay, it's going to be the same form. So scanner equals new scanner system in. But this part here in the box, you can name anything you want. Okay, that's the only thing that will change from program to program. The rest of it, the syntax is going to stay the same. Okay, let's move down a little farther into our program then. In order to convey a message to our user, okay, we're always going to use the system out. Okay, and then to bring information in, we're going to use the scan. Okay, and depending upon if it's text, we're going to use .next. If it's a double, we're going to use the next double. Okay, and this correlates to our data type of our variable. Okay, if our variable was int, we're going to have scan next int. If it was a char, it's going to be a scan next char. And you'll see that in the drop down menu as you code. Okay, then we actually do our calculation. And notice here we can use the same variable over again and then out again. So we're going to use scan as the input, and we're going to use our system out to communicate to our user. So that's our basic part of how to read information in, manipulate data, and to present a message out to our user.